Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Quad foreign ministers reaffirm commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific, voice concern over Chinese militarization of disputed features and intimidating maneuvers in the South China Sea. It's confusion worse confounded in Venezuela as President Nicolas Maduro and the opposition claim victory. The US raises doubts over authenticity of Maduro being declared the winner. Israel's Prime Minister gets cabinet's backing to decide on the manner and timing of a response to Hezbollah rocket attack on Israeli-occupied Golan Heights in Syria. And after Manu Bhakar's bronze, India pins its medal hopes on Arjun Babuta and Ramita Jindal in the 10-meter air rifle finals at Paris Olympics. Foreign ministers of Australia, India, Japan and the United States, collectively known as the Quad, convened in Tokyo on Monday to explore strategies for enhancing maritime security and strengthening cyber defenses. Now, this meeting involved Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa and US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Addressing a joint press conference after the Quad foreign ministers' meeting, India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar said member nations are not only cooperating among themselves, but they are also working together with other countries. He cited various examples of cooperation and projects that Quad nations are pursuing together.
The Indo-Pacific Maritime Domain Initiative that came out of Quad today links our information fusion centers. The Open RAN network that we have spoken about so much is being deployed in Palau. A space-based climate warning system will be launched soon in Mauritius. Off-grid solar projects are actually happening in Indo-Pacific Islands, and the first cohort of Quad STEM fellowships is passing out, and the second one will also cover the ASEAN.
Minister Jaishankar also mentioned that it is crucial to ensure all aspects of their cooperation was aligned. The unified message from the four countries underscores their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific, advancing global well-being.
It is important that we all connect the dots. The overall messaging is that our four countries, all democratic polities, pluralistic societies and market economies, are working together for a free and open Indo-Pacific, for a rules-based order and for global good. That, by itself, is a powerful stabilizing factor in an uncertain and volatile world.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken addressed the media after the Quad meeting. He said that the US is on a course for a more secure and open Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean region by bolstering maritime security.
We are charting a course for a more secure and open Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean region. We are helping to accelerate the Indo-Pacific's path to even greater prosperity by harnessing the power of digital and emerging technologies, and again, doing it together. Today, we took the first step to launching the AI Engage program, funding opportunities for collaborative research to leverage these technologies, like artificial intelligence. This week, we announced a new cohort of Quad Fellows. We're sponsoring top STEM students, those who have masters or PhDs, to come study in the United States. We're deepening our collaboration on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. We're working to finalize a response mechanism to make coordination even more effective and immediate to deal with future disasters.
Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs Penny Wong's statement focused on the practical aspect of assistance in the shared region to meet their needs.
Long-standing rules are being bent and twisted or broken. Countries face coercive trade measures, unsustainable lending, political interference and disinformation. All of these encroach on the ability of every country. For Australia, this Quad partnership is central. We are enabling choices in terms of the character of the region we want, a region in which sovereignty and the capacity to both agree and disagree is safeguarded. But second, we seek to enable choices in a practical sense by bringing together the advantages, the comparative advantages that these nations before you offer and offering that practical assistance to meet the region's needs.
The 5th Joint Committee meeting for the review of ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement taking place in Jakarta, Indonesia. The discussions for review of the agreement started in May 2023 to make it more trade facilitative and beneficial for businesses across the region. A joint committee which is undertaking the review work has so far met 4 times. India and the 10-nation bloc of ASEAN have agreed to conclude the talks in 2025. The delegates from India and all 10 ASEAN countries are participating in the discussions. India and Saudi Arabia virtually held the first meeting of the India-Saudi Arabia High-Level Task Force on Investments. The high-level task force was constituted following the decision taken by the Prime Minister of India and the Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince in September 2023. The two sides reviewed the discussions held between the technical teams of the task force. Constructive discussions were held on various opportunities for bilateral investments in diverse areas, including refining and petrochemical plants, new and renewable energy, power, telecom and innovation. The two sides reviewed measures aimed at promoting two-way investments. India reiterated the firm intention to provide active support to Saudi Arabian investments of $100 billion. The two sides agreed to regular consultations between technical teams. The Indian delegation, led by Secretary Petroleum, will visit Saudi Arabia for follow-up on mutually beneficial investments in oil and gas sector. The Saudi Arabian side was also invited to set up Office of Sovereign Wealth Fund in India. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister P.K. Mishra invited the Minister of Energy of Saudi Arabia to India for the next round of discussions. In a new twist to European politics, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni declared on Sunday to relaunch cooperation with China. She signed a 3-year action plan to reboot the relationship that had soured for a few years because of the COVID-19 pandemic impacts and China's tensions with the European Union and the US. Prime Minister Meloni is on her first official visit to Beijing since taking office. During her delegation-level meeting with her counterpart Li Qiang in Beijing on Sunday, she announced her willingness to improve trade ties with China. The action plan that was signed during the meeting seeks to implement past agreements and experiment with new forms of cooperation. It is still not clear, though, whether Italy will join the Belt and Road Initiative afresh. She is on a 5-day visit to China beginning Saturday. In 2019, Italy became the only group of 7 countries to join the China's Belt and Road Initiative, but withdrew from it last year under US pressure over concerns about Beijing's unilateral behavior in the Indo-Pacific. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro and his opposition rival Edmundo Gonzalez were each claiming victory in a presidential election on Monday morning after a vote marked by accusations of underhand tactics and isolated incidents of violence. The country's electoral authorities said just after midnight on Monday that Maduro had won a 3rd term with 51% of the vote, despite multiple exit polls which pointed to an opposition win. The authorities said opposition candidate Gonzalez won 44% of the vote. Maduro, appearing at the presidential palace before cheering supporters, said his re-election is a triumph of peace and stability and reiterated his campaign trail assertion that Venezuela's electoral system is transparent. Maduro said he will sign a decree on Monday to hold a great national dialogue. Meanwhile, opposition leader Maria Corina Machado said Gonzalez had won 70% of the vote and that multiple independent exit polls and quick counts decisively showed his victory. The declaration came despite the National Electoral Council announcing a 51% victory for President Nicolas Maduro, contradicting several exit polls. Gonzalez said his message of reconciliation and peaceful change still stands and added that the opposition would fight until the election results were respected. As Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro turned out victorious in the presidential election, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, while addressing a joint statement on Quad, said the international community is watching these results very closely and that the U.S. was concerned if people's choice were rightly reflected. Blinken called for electoral authorities to publish a detailed tabulation of votes.
We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity. We've seen the announcement just a short while ago by the Venezuelan Electoral Commission. We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people. The international community is watching this very closely and will respond accordingly.
5 more persons have been arrested in connection with the basement flooding case of Delhi's old Rajendra Nagar. The arrested persons include the owners of the basement. With these arrests, total number of persons arrested in the case has gone up to 7. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi has sealed the basement of 13 private institutes that teach students to prepare for a nationwide examination for recruitment to the country's civil service. The corporation's crackdown on properties violating building bylaws followed protests in India's capital. Students continued their protests on Monday, demanding justice and appropriate action from the government, including steps to prevent waterlogging in the area. They also sought punishment for the private institutes and their landowners who are running libraries and holding classes in a basement. India's Vice President and the Chairperson of the Upper House of India's Parliament, Jagdeep Dhankar, raised the Delhi Coaching Institute issue in the Upper House of Parliament. He said that it's appropriate to have a short duration discussion or a calling attention.
I find that youth demographic dividend of the country has to be nurtured. I deem it appropriate to have a short duration discussion or a calling attention first under 176 or under Rule 180.
And still to come on DD India Live. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says his country might enter Israel to help the Palestinians. 29 July is International Tiger Day. We take a look at the majestic creature and its habitat. And the latest in all the sporting action from Paris Olympics.
This summer, the world turns its eyes to Paris. And DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory, and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama, and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis, and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. With just 100 days left for the US presidential election, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are both working hard to consolidate voters and accumulate resources for their campaigns. This week, we'll see an intensified campaign by them. Trump has vowed to do more rallies, saying that he will not be intimidated by a bid on his life. Harris, for her part, managed $200 million for her campaign. She signed 170,000 new volunteers at the end of the week. Some polls show a sharp rise in Democrats' support in comparison to what was during Biden's candidacy. So Trump is expected to further consolidate his core vote bank. Israel's Security Cabinet on Sunday authorized Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to decide when and how Israel responds to the deadly attack on the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights in Syria. After the meeting of Israel's Security Cabinet ended, Netanyahu's office said the cabinet authorized the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister to decide on the manner and timing of the response. Israel said that Hezbollah will pay the price after a rocket attack at Golan Heights killed 12 children, for which Tel Aviv blamed the terror group. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant pledged a heavy response during a visit to the town of Majd al-Shams near the Syrian and Lebanese borders. Hezbollah denied responsibility for the attack on Majd al-Shams on Saturday, the deadliest in Israel or Israeli-occupied territory since the Hamas's 7th October assault sparked the conflict in Gaza. Hezbollah was on high alert and had cleared some key sites in both Lebanon's south and the eastern Bekaa Valley in case of an Israeli attack. As tension escalates, some flights at Beirut airport have been cancelled or delayed, with Lebanon's Middle East airline saying disruptions to its schedule were related to insurance risks. Lufthansa, Turkish, Greek and Ethiopian airlines have also cancelled their flights to Beirut scheduled for Monday. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan indicated on Sunday the possibility of Turkey intervening in Israel like its previous actions in Libya and Nagorno-Karabakh. Erdogan, who has been a fierce critic of Israel's offensive in Gaza, started discussing about it during a speech praising his country's defense industry. However, he did not provide specific details about the nature of intervention. Erdogan's comments come after he previously called on the Islamic world to take action against Israel. And now to weather updates from across the globe. Rapidly growing wildfire in Northern California has left thousands of firefighters battling after the blaze doubled in size within 24 hours. By Saturday afternoon, the park fire had burned more than 350,000 acres north of Sacramento, the state capital. This according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. More humid weather was predicted for the area, which might aid in efforts to contain the fire's spread. 134 structures were destroyed in the fire. Many towns throughout numerous counties received warnings and orders to evacuate. The rigid blaze of wildfires leave behind ashes in Canada. More than thousands of residents were forced to evacuate as the blaze engulfed the region, though the authorities report steady progress in surpassing fires in the Canadian tourist town of Jasper. This after massive fires destroyed about a third of the town. Officials said that the fire in Jasper National Park was the largest wildfire that battered the region in more than 100 years. Meanwhile, a dike breach occurred in a river of central China's Hunan province. More than 3,100 people have been evacuated since. Typhoon Gemi swept through central China's Hunan province that brought record-high precipitation to the country's city of Ziqing. Weather department in Ziqing recorded 487.5 millimeters of rainfall in 12 hours just on Saturday. That made a new record for the highest rainfall in the province. A glacial flood in southern Iceland inundated a ring road, causing a section at one end of the nearby bridge to give way and tear apart. Aerial footage from the country's Coast Guard and public broadcaster showed a vast, flat area of uninhabited land covered by muddy water, while another video showed a torrent rushing under the bridge on the highway. Today we join the global community in celebrating International Tiger Day, rooted in the historic agreement signed at St. Petersburg Tiger Summit in 2010. Tapas Bhattacharya reports on this remarkable journey of tiger conservation with a special focus on India's pioneering Project Tiger.
Around the world, July 29th is celebrated as International Tiger Day. A day dedicated to raising awareness about tiger conservation and the protection of their natural habitats. This day serves as a reminder of the various agreements signed by various countries at the St. Petersburg Tiger Summit in Russia in 2010, aiming to highlight the critical decline in the global tiger population. By the 1970s, centuries of hunting and habitat destruction had reduced the number of wild tigers. In response, the Indian government declared tiger as India's national animal in 1973, banning hunting, and launched a pioneering conservation initiative known as Project Tiger. This program focuses on conserving tigers in specially designated reserves, which represent various biogeographical regions across the country, striving to maintain viable tiger population in their natural environment. Today, India is home to more than 70% of the world's tiger population among the 13 tiger range countries, thanks to the long-standing efforts of the Project Tiger. This initiative has successfully allocated 2.3% of the country's geographical area to 54 tiger reserves. There are currently 3,682 on an average of tigers in India, an increase from 2,967 in 2018, reflecting an annual remarkable growth of 6.1%. Under the stewardship of Project Tiger, the initial 9 tiger reserves have now expanded to 54, supporting more than 70% of the global tiger population.
The success of Project Tiger underscores the importance of continued efforts in conservation and the protection of natural habitats. The remarkable increase in India's tiger population stands as a beacon of hope and a testament to the tireless work of conservationists worldwide. With camera person Sandeep, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
And now to all the news from Paris Olympics. Indian star badminton duo Satvik and Chirag will not be in action on Monday. The upcoming badminton men's doubles group stage match against Germany has been cancelled because of an injury to the German player Lamsfuss. The German team has now withdrawn from Paris Olympics. After Manu Bhaker won the first medal for India, shooting star Ramita Jindal will continue to look to winning ways as she competes in women's 10-meter air rifle final event in Paris on Monday. Here are some interesting facts about Ramita Jindal. Ramita is a rifle shooter living in northern India's Kurukshetra district. She started her career in rifle shooting at the age of 13. After Manu Bhaker, Ramita Jindal becomes the second Indian shooter to enter the Olympics final in shooting. Ramita is the first Indian woman rifle shooter to make it to the Olympic final. Now, this feat was last achieved by Ramita's coach Suma Shirur at Athens in 2004. Ramita is an Asian Games 2022 silver and bronze medalist. She also bagged 2 gold medals in the Junior World Championship held at Cairo in 2022. She bagged a gold in the World Cup Baku 2022 as well in the 10 meters air rifle women's team event. The same year, Ramita added another silver at the World Cup at Changwon. India's Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia congratulated Manu Bhaker on her achievement in an exclusive conversation with DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya. Take a listen.
सबसे पहले तो मैं मनु भाकर को अभिनंदन करना चाहूँगा जिन्होंने पेरिस ओलंपिक में ब्रॉन्ज मेडल जीत के भारत का खाता खोला है, देश का गौरव बढ़ाया है, मैं उसको अभिनंदन करता हूँ। जब मनु भाकर ने ब्रॉन्ज मेडल जीता तो स्वयं ने उसके साथ बातचीत करी, उसको प्रोत्साहित करा। यही बताते हैं कि मोदी जी की खेलों के प्रति कितनी प्राथमिकता है। हम सब भारतीय लोग चीयर फॉर भारत हैशटैग से सोशल मीडिया के द्वारा हमारे खिलाड़ियों को प्रोत्साहित करें, उसका हौसला बढ़ाएं और हम अवश्य अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस करेंगे।
And with that as a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. And let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.